I made these little gingerbread houses out of dollar store birdhouses. So I had a fun time with it. I did different things. I treated the perch differently on each of them. And I think the final one was the cutest idea of making it look like a doorknob, a very long doorknob. But yes, that was one possibility. And I did a few other ones. But anyway, I'm going to show you how I did it. So just paint the birdhouse brown. And then you add white to the, after it's dried, you add white. This brown, it's burnt sienna. Burnt sienna seems like perfect out of the tube for a gingerbread house to me. There you go. So I'm going to make this into like a cute little gingerbread house. And you can add color to it, but I'm just going with some dots. Some curly cues. I'm going to connect the dots. La 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 la, connect the dots. La 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 la, connect the dots. La 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 la, connect the dots. All right. I feel like I needed to look again at some gingerbread houses. I was spending a lot of time looking at them before, and I why doesn't it feel right? I don't know. Let's just make this side look like a gingerbread house now. First of all, you gotta have the door and the wreath around the door. And the trees. Maybe a snowman shape. Not close enough, am I? Okay, and then we've got, am I on both cameras? I think I am, yeah. Okay, so just a little snowman. Okay, and then we're gonna add, I did some other ones before and like I just did them without thinking, and now I'm getting a little self-conscious here. So we're adding a window that scale is way off. But I think there's a cuteness to that that makes it feel like a child did it, which is a cute thing. Give it some shutters. And then if you want to add like candy to it, you can. Actual colorful little candy-like things. It's funny, I don't know why I'm having a hard time with it, but I feel like I kind of had it down. And now I'm just doing it without thinking, doing it my way. So that's a good thing, I guess. So, one part. I remember. All right, I'm going to have to do a voiceover, so I'm going to go ahead and play my book again. Amazon, resume.
Under her breath, Juana repeated an ancient magic to guard against such evil. And on top of that, she muttered a Hail Mary between clenched teeth. But Kino was in motion. His body glided quietly across the room, noiselessly and smoothly. His hands were in front of him, palms down, and his eyes were on the scorpion. Beneath the hanging box, Coyotito laughed and reached up his hand toward it.
Mom, where are my shoes?
I don't know, honey. If you took them off and left them, you wouldn't have brought them here, that's for sure.
And the curved thorn on the tail's end glistened. Kino stood perfectly still. He could hear Juana whispering the old magic again, and he could hear the evil music of the enemy. He could not move until the scorpion moved, and it felt for the source of the death that was coming to it. Kino's hand went forward very slowly, very softly. The thorny tail jerked upright, and at that moment, the laughing Coyotito shook the rope, and the scorpion fell. Kino's hand leaped to catch it, but it fell past his fingers, fell onto baby's shoulders, landed, and struck. Then, snarling, Kino had it in his fingers, rubbing it to a paste in his hands. He threw it down and beat it into the earth floor with his fist, and Coyotito screamed with pain in his box. But Kino beat and stamped the enemy until it was only a fragment in a moist place in the dirt. His teeth were bared, and fury flared in his eyes, and the song of the enemy roared in his ears. But Juana had the baby in her arms now. She found the puncture with the redness starting already. She put her lips down over the puncture and sucked hard and spat and sucked again while Coyotito screamed. Kino hovered. He was helpless. He was in the way. The screams of the baby brought the neighbors. Out of their brush houses they poured. Kino's brother Juan Tomas and his fat wife Apollonia and their 4 children crowded in the door and blocked the entrance, while behind them others tried to look in, and one small boy crawled among the legs to have a look, and those in front passed the word back to those behind. Scorpion, the baby has been stung. Juana stopped sucking the puncture for a moment. The little hole was slightly enlarged, and its edge whitened from the sucking, but the red swelling extended farther around it, in a hard lymphatic mound. All of these people knew about the scorpion. An adult might be very ill from the sting, but a baby could easily die from the poison. First, they knew, would come swelling, and fever, and tightened throat, and then cramps in the stomach, and then Coyotito might die if enough of the poison had gone in. But the stinging pain of the bite was going away. Coyotito's screams turned to moans. Kino had wondered often at the iron in his patient, fragile wife, she who was obedient and respectful and cheerful and patient. She could arch her back in child pain with hardly a cry. She could stand fatigue and hunger almost better than Kino himself. In the canoe, she was like a strong man, and now she did a most surprising thing. The doctor, she said. Go to get the doctor. The word was passed out among the neighbors, where they stood close packed in the little yard behind the brush fence, and they repeated among themselves, Juana wants the doctor. A wonderful thing, a memorable thing to want the doctor. To get him would be a remarkable thing. The doctor never came to the cluster of brush houses. Why should he? When he had more than he could do to take care of the rich people who lived in the stone and plaster houses of the town. He would not come, the people in the yard said. He would not come, the people at the door said. And the thought got into Kino. The doctor would not come, Kino said to Juana. She looked up at him, her eyes as cold as the eyes of a lioness. This was Juana's first baby. This was nearly everything there was in Juana's world, and Kino saw her determination, and the music of the family sounded in his head with a steely tone. Then we will go to him, Juana said. And with one hand she arranged her dark blue shawl over her head, and made one end of it a sling to hold the moaning baby, and made of the other end of it a shade over his eyes to protect him from the light. The people in the door pushed against those behind to let her through. Kino followed her. They went out of the gate to the rutted path, and the neighbors followed them. The thing had become a neighborhood affair. They made a quick, soft-footed procession into the center of the town. First Juana and Kino, and behind them Juan Tomas and Apollonia, her big stomach jiggling with the strenuous pace. Then all the neighbors with the children trotting on the flanks, and the yellow sun threw their black shadows ahead of them, so that they walked on their own shadows. They came to the place where the brush houses stopped, and the city of stone and plaster began, the city of harsh outer walls and inner cool gardens, where a little water played, and the bougainvillea crusted the walls with purple and brick red and white. They heard from the secret gardens the singing of caged birds, and heard the splash of cooling water on hot flagstones. The procession crossed the blinding plaza and passed in front of the church. It had grown now, and on the outskirts the hurrying newcomers were being softly informed how the baby had been stung by a scorpion, how the father and mother were taking it to the doctor. And the newcomers, particularly the beggars from the front of the church, who were great experts in financial analysis, looked quickly at Juana's old blue skirt, saw the tears in her shawl, appraised the green ribbon on her braids, read the age of Kino's blanket and the 1,000 washings of his clothes, and set them down as poverty people, and went along to see what kind of drama might develop. The 4 beggars in front of the church knew everything in the town. They were students of the expressions of young women as they went into confession, and they saw them as they came out and read the nature of the sin. They knew every little scandal and some very big crimes. They slept at their posts in the shadow of the church, so that no one crept in for consolation without their knowledge. And they knew.
Oh, damn it.
They knew his ignorance, his
Hi.
cruelty, his avarice, his appetite, his sin. They knew his
I was
crazy
thinking
abortion,
we
and
could
the
go
little brown
early,
pennies he gave
earlier
sparingly
this
for alms.
season. You and Mike,
They had
if you
seen
wanted
his
to, or
corpses going to the church.
my mom's house.
And since early mass was over and business was slow, they followed.
I really don't want to.
Searchers after perfect
Do-
knowledge of their
I mean,
sin, to see what the fat lazy doctor
I'm-
would do
I mean, if you want to,
with a scorpion bite.
if the kids want to, that's fine. If you want to go in your car, and then I'll go later to Chris and Gretchen's, but I don't really want to.
Okay.
I won't be mad if you want to, though. If the kids want to, that's fine with me. Okay.
Kino hesitated a moment. This doctor was not of his people. This doctor was of a race which for nearly 400 years had beaten and starved and robbed and despised Kino's race, and frightened it too, so that the indigene came humbly to the door. And as always, when he came near to one of this race, Kino felt weak and afraid and angry at the same time. Rage and terror went together. He could kill the doctor more easily than he could talk to him. For all of the doctor's race spoke to all of Kino's race as though they were simple animals. And as Kino raised his right hand to the iron ring locker in the gate, rage swelled in him, and the pounding music of the enemy beat in his ears, and his lips drew tight against his teeth. But with his left hand, he reached to take off his hat. The iron ring pounded against the gate. Kino took off his hat and stood waiting. Coyotito moaned a little in Juana's arms, and she spoke softly to him. The procession crowded close, the better to see and hear. After a moment, the big gate opened a few inches. Kino could see the green coolness of the garden and a little splashing fountain through the opening. The man who looked out at him was one of his own race. Kino spoke to him in the old language. The little one, the firstborn, has been poisoned by the scorpion, Kino said. He requires the skill of the healer. The gate closed a little, and the servant refused to speak in the old language. A little moment, he said. I go to inform myself. And he closed the gate and slid the bolt home. The glaring sun threw the bunched shadows of the people blackly on the white wall. In his chamber, the doctor sat up in his high bed. He had on his dressing gown of red watered silk that had come from Paris, a little tight over the chest now, if it was buttoned. On his lap was a silver tray with a silver chocolate pot, and a tiny cup of egg-shell china, so delicate that it looked silly when he lifted it with his big hand, lifted it with the tips of thumb and forefinger, and spread the other 3 fingers wide to get them out of the way. His eyes rested in puffy little hammocks of flesh, and his mouth drooped with discontent. He was growing very stout, and his voice was hoarse with the fat that pressed on his throat. Beside him on a table was a small oriental gong and a bowl of cigarettes. The furnishings of the room were heavy and dark and gloomy. The pictures were religious. Even a large tinted photograph of his dead wife, who, if masses willed and paid for out of her own estate could do it, was in heaven. The doctor had once, for a short time, been a part of the great world, and his whole
Amazon, turn it down.
memory and longing for France. That, he said, was civilized living. By which he meant that on a small income he had been able to keep a mistress and eat in restaurants. He poured his second cup of chocolate and crumbled a sweet biscuit in his fingers. The servant from the gate came to the open door and stood waiting to be noticed. Yes, the doctor asked. It is a little Indian with a baby. He says a scorpion stung it. The doctor put his cup down gently before he let his anger rise. Have I nothing better to do than cure insect bites for little Indians? I am a doctor, not a veterinary. Yes, but
Where's your mom? What?
Has he any money? The doctor
Yep.
Did you clean his paws?
I alone in the world am supposed to work for nothing, and I am tired of it. See if he has any money. At the gate, the servant opened the door a trifle and looked out at the waiting people. By this time he spoke in the old language.
Come on, Billy.
Have you money to pay for the treatment? Now Kino reached into a secret place somewhere under his blanket. He brought out a paper folded many times, crease by crease unfolded, until at last there came into view 8 small misshapen seeds, as ugly and gray as little ulcers, flattened and almost valueless. The servant took the paper and
Can you try to clean up his paw prints then, please?
opened the gate.
Yes, they're only in the common room.
That's good.
The doctor had gone out. He was called to a serious case. He shut the gate quickly on his shame. And now a wave of shame went over the whole procession. They melted away. The beggars went back to the church steps. The stragglers moved off and the neighbors departed so that the public shame of Kino would not be in their eyes. For a long time, Kino stood there. Slowly he put his soft hat on his head. Then, without warning, he struck the gate a crushing blow with his fist. He looked down in wonder at his split knuckles and at the blood that flowed down between his fingers. The town lay at a broad estuary, its old yellow plastered buildings hugging the beach. And on the beach, the white and blue canoes that came from Nayarit were drawn up. Canoes preserved for generations by hard shell-like waterproof plaster, whose making was a secret for the fishing people. They were high and graceful canoes, with curving bow and stern, and a braced section midships where a mast could be stepped to carry a small lateen stand. The beach was yellow.
Yes?
Is there anything in the washer?
A rubber shell and
Amazon, stop. No, but there's just stuff in the drawer. I actually, I think both are empty, but right now my cameras are kind of in front of the, let me finish this one little gingerbread house.
I don't need to. I'll do it some other time.
Are you, are you thinking we would take Philly with us to your mom's? Because it's just going to be a long time for him to be alone. Amazon, what time is it?
It's 12:51 p.m.
Okay. I also told the kids we'd make cookies, which we don't have to, but that was my plan. After I do this. Amazon, resume.
Fiddler crabs bubbled and sputtered in their holes in the sand, and in the shallows, little lobsters popped in and out of their tiny holes in the rubble and sand. The sea bottom was rich with crawling and swimming and building things. The brown algae waved in the gentle current, and the green eelgrass swayed, and little seahorses clung to its stems. Spotted botete, the poison fish, lay on the bottom in the eelgrass beds, and the bright-colored swimming crabs scattered. On the beach, hungry dogs and hungry pigs of the town searched for any dead fish or seabird that might have floated in on the rising tide. Although the morning was young, the hazy mirage was up. The uncertain air that magnified some things and blotted out others hung over the whole gulf, so that all sights were unreal and vision could not be trusted, so that sea and land had the sharp clarity and the vagueness of the dream. It might be that the people of the Gulf trust things of the spirits and things of the imagination, but they do not trust their eyes to show them distance or clear outline or any optical exactness. Across the estuary from the town, one section of mangroves stood clear and telescopically defined, while another mangrove clump was a hazy, black-green blob. Part of the far shore disappeared into a shimmer that looked like water. There was no certainty in seeing, no proof that what you saw was there or was not there. And the people of the Gulf expected all places were that way, and it was not strange to them. A copper haze hung over the water, and the hot morning sun beat on it, and made it vibrant.
Echo, how many sides does a snowflake have?
The brush houses of the
Amazon?
people were baffled.
How many sides does a snowflake have?
From Quora.com. First, they don't always have 6 sides. They can form in cool needle shapes, and a forming snowflake can be impacted by dust or another flake and become all lopsided. But yes, snowflakes generally hold to the hexagon form.
On the beach, on the right-hand side of the town, the canoes were drawn up in front of this area. Kino and Juana came slowly down to the beach, into Kino's canoe, which was the one thing of value he owned in the world. It was very old. Kino's grandfather had brought it from Nayarit, and he had given it to Kino's father, and so it had come to Kino. It was at once property and source of food, for a man with a boat can guarantee a woman that she will eat something. It is the bulwark against starvation. And every year Kino refinished his canoe with the hard, clay-like plaster by the secret method that had also come to him from his father. And now he came to the canoe and touched the bow tenderly, as he always did. He laid his diving rock and his basket and the tow ropes in the sand by the canoe, and he folded his blanket and laid it to the bow. Juana laid Coyotito on the blanket as she placed a shawl over him so that the hot sun could not shine on him. He was quiet now, but the swelling in his shoulder had continued up his neck and under his ear, and his face was puffed and feverish. Juana went to the water and waded in. She gathered some brown seaweed and made a flat, damp poultice of it, and this she applied to the baby's swollen shoulder, which was as good a remedy as any, and probably better than the doctor could have done. But the remedy lacked his effect because it was simple and didn't cost anything. The stomach cramps had not come to Coyotito. Perhaps Juana had sucked out the pills in time, but she had not sucked out her worry over her firstborn. She had not prayed directly for the recovery of the baby. She had prayed that they might find a pearl with which to hire the doctor to cure the baby. For the minds of people are as unsubstantial as the mirage of the Gulf. Now Kino and Juana slid the canoe down the beach to the water, and when the bow floated, Juana climbed in, while Kino pushed the stern in and waded beside it until it floated lightly and trembled on the little breaking waves. Then in coordination, Juana and Kino drove their double-bladed paddles into the sea, and the canoe pushed the water and hissed with speed. The other paddlers were gone out long since. In a few moments, Kino could see them clustered in the haze, riding over the oyster bed. Light filtered down through the water to the bed where the frilly pearl oysters lay fastened to the rubbly bottom. A bottom strewn with shells of broken, open King of Spain to be a great power in Europe in past years, and fought powerful wars that decorated the churches for his soul's sake. Gray oysters with ruffles like skirts on the shelves, the barnacle-crusted oysters with little bits of leaves clinging to the skirts and small crabs climbing over them. An accident could happen to these oysters. A grain of sand could lie in the fold of muscle and irritate the flesh until, in self-protection, the flesh coated the grain with a layer of smooth skin. But once started, the flesh continued to coat the foreign body until it fell free in some tidal flurry, or until the oyster was destroyed. For centuries, men had dived down and torn the oysters from the beds and ripped them open, looking for the coated grains of sand. Swarms of fish lived near the beds, lived near the oysters, thrown back by the searching men, and to nibble at the shining inner shells. But the pearls were accidents, and the finding of one was luck. A little pat on the back by God, or the gods, or both. Kino had 2 ropes, one tied to a heavy stone and one to a basket. He stripped off his shirt and trousers and laid his hat in the bottom of the canoe. The water was oily smooth. He took his rock in one hand and his basket in the other. He slipped feet first over the side, and the rock carried him to the bottom. The bubbles rose behind him until the water cleared. Above the surface of the water was an undulating mirror of darkness, and he could see the bottoms of the canoes slipping through. Kino moved cautiously, so that the water would not be obscured with mud or sand. He hooked his foot in the loop of his rock, and his hands worked quickly, tearing the oysters loose, some singly, others in clusters. He laid them in his basket. In some places, the oysters clung to one another, so that they came free in lumps. Now Kino's people had sung of everything that happened or existed. They had made songs to the fishes, to the sea in anger, and to the sea in calm, to the light and the dark, and the sun and the moon, and the songs were all in Kino and in his people. Every song that had ever been made, even the ones forgotten. And as he filled his basket, the song was in Kino, and the beast of the song was his pounding heart, as it ate the oxygen from his helmet back. And the melody of the song was the gray-green water, and the little scuttling animals and the clouds of fish that flitted by and were gone. But in the song, there was a secret little inner song, hardly perceptible, but always there, sweet and secret and clear, almost hiding in the southern melody. And this was the song of the pearl that might be. For every shell thrown in the basket might contain a pearl. Chance was against it, but luck and the gods might be for it. And in the canoe above him, Kino knew that Juana was making the magic of prayer. Her face set rigid, and her muscles hard to force the luck, to tear the luck out of the god's hands, for she needed the luck from his fallen shoulder of Coyotito. And because the need was great and the desire was great, the little secret melody of the pearl that might be was strong. Whole phrases of it came clearly and softly into the song of the undersea. Kino, in his pride and youth and strength, could remain down over 2 minutes without straying, so that he worked deliberately, selecting the largest shells. Because they were disturbed, the oyster shells were tightly closed. A little to his right, a hummock of rubbly rock stuck up, covered with young oysters not ready to take. Kino moved next without it, and then decided, under a little overhang, he saw a very large oyster lying by itself, not covered with its blinking brothers. The shell was partly open, for the overhang protected this ancient oyster. And in the lip-like muscle, Kino saw a ghostly gleam. And then the shell closed down. His heart beat out a heavy rhythm, and the melody of the baby pearl shrilled in his ears. Slowly, he forced the oyster loose and held it tightly against his breast. He kicked his foot free from the rock loop, and his body rose to the surface, and his black hair gleamed in the sunlight. He reached over the side of the canoe and laid the oyster in the bottom. Then Juana steadied the boat while he climbed in. His eyes were shining with excitement. But in decency, he pulled up his rock, and then he pulled up his basket of oysters and lifted them in. Juana sensed his excitement, and she pretended to look away. It is not good to want a thing too much. It sometimes drives the luck away. You must want it just enough, and you must be very tactful with God or the gods. He looked speculatively at the basket. Perhaps it would be better to open the oyster last. He took a small oyster from the basket, cut them up, searched the folded flesh, and threw it in the water. Then he seemed to see the great oyster for the first time. He squatted at the bottom of the canoe, picked up the shell, and examined it. The fruits were shining black to brown, and only a few small barnacles adhered to the shell. Now Kino was the doctor to open it. What he had seen, he knew might be a reflection, a piece of black shell accidentally drifted in, or a complete illusion. In this gulf of uncertain light, there were more illusions than reality. But Juana's eyes were on him, and she could not wait. She put her hand on the particular covered head. Open it, she said softly. Kino deftly slipped his knife into the edge of the shell. Through the knife, he could feel the muscle tighten hard. He brought the blade lever-wise, and the closing muscle parted, and the shell fell apart. The lip-like flesh writhed up, and then parted. Kino lifted the flesh, and there it lay. A pearl, perfect as a ruler. It captured light and refined it, and gave it back in silver incandescence. It was as large as a seagull's egg. It was the greatest pearl in the world. Juan caught her breath and moaned a little. To Kino, the baby pearl broke clear and beautiful, rich, warm and lovely, glowing and glowing at child. In the surface of the great pearl, he could see dream bars. He picked the pearl from the dying flesh and held it in his palm, and he turned it over and saw it turn. Juana came near and stared at it in his hand, and it was the hand that smashed against the doctor's gate. The torn flesh of the knuckles was turned grayish-white by the seams of that. Instinctively, Juana went to Conchita where he lay on his father's blanket. She lifted the poultice of seaweed and looked at the shoulder. Kino, she cried shrilly. He looked past his pearl, and he saw that the swelling was going out of the baby's shoulder. The poison was receding from his body. Then Kino's fist closed over the pearl, and his emotions broke over him. He put back his head and howled. His eyes rolled up, and he screamed, and his body was rigid. The men in the other canoes looked up, startled, and then they dug their paddles into the sea and raced toward Kino's canoe. Now is the thing like a colonial animal. Now is the nervous system, your head and shoulders. A town is a thing separate from all other towns, so that there are no groups of things. And a town has a whole emotion. How news travels to a town is a mystery that needed to be solved. News seems to move faster than small boys in scramble and dark, faster than women in high-down faces. Before Kino and Juana and the other visitors had come to Kino's brush house, the nerves of the town were pulsing and vibrating with news. Kino had found the pearl of the world. Before panting little boys could strangle up the words, their mothers knew it. The news swept on past the brush houses, and it washed in a foaming wave into the town of stone and plaster. It came to the priest walking his garden, and put a thoughtful look in his eye, and a memory of certain repairs necessary to the church. He wondered what the pearl would be worth, and he wondered whether he had baptized Kino's baby or married him with a name. The news came to shopkeepers, and they looked at men's clothes that had not sold so well. The news came to the doctor, where he sat with a woman whose illness or age, though neither she nor the doctor would admit it. And when it was made plain who Kino was, the doctor grew stern and judicious at the same time. He is a client of mine, the doctor said. I'm treating his child for a scorpion sting. And the doctor's eyes rolled up a little in their fat hammocks, and he thought of Paris. He remembered the room he had lived in there as a great and luxurious place, and he remembered the hard-faced woman who had lived with him as a beautiful and kind girl, although she had been none of these three. The doctor looked past his aged patient and saw himself sitting in a restaurant in Paris, and a waiter was just opening a bottle of wine. The news came early to the beggars in front of the church, and it made them giggle a little with pleasure, for they knew there was no almsgiver in the world like a poor man who was suddenly lucky. Kino had found the pearl of the world. In the town, in little offices, sat the men who bought pearls from despair, had given his pearls to the church. And when the buying was over, these buyers sat alone and their fingers played restlessly with the pearls, and they wished they owned the pearls. Well, there were not many buyers, really. There was only one, and he kept these agents in separate offices to give a semblance of competition. The news came to these men, and their eyes squinted and their fingerprints burned a little. And each one thought how the Patrone could not live forever, and someone had to take his place. And each one thought how the all manner of people grew interested in Kino. People with things to sell and people with favors to ask. Kino had found the pearl of the essence of pearl mixed with the essence of men, and a curious fascination was precipitated. Every man suddenly became related to Kino's pearl. And Kino's pearl went into the dreams, the speculations, the schemes, the plans, the futures, the wishes, the needs, the lusts, the hungers of everyone. And only one person stood in the way, and that was Kino. So that he became curiously ever and ever. That he was stirred something infinitely black and evil in the town. The black distillate was like a scorpion, or like hunger in the smell of food, or like loneliness when love is withheld. The poison sapped of the town began to manufacture terror, and the town swelled and bubbled with pressure. But Kino and Juana did not know these things. Because they were happy in life, they thought everyone shared their joy. Juan Tomas and Paloma did, and they were the world too. In the afternoon, when the sun had gone over the mountains of the peninsula to sink in the outward sea, Kino squatted in his house with Juana beside him. The house was crowded with men. Kino held the great pearl in his hand, and it was warm and alive in his hand. And the music of the pearl emerged with the music of the families that one beautified the other. The neighbors looked at the pearl in Kino's hand, and they wondered how such luck could come to any man. And Juan Tomas, who started on Kino's right hand because he was his brother, asked, "What will you do now that you have become a rich man?" Kino looked into his pearl, and Juana cast her eyelashes down, and arranged her shawl to cover her face, so that her excitement could not be seen. And in the incandescence of the pearl, the pictures formed of the things Kino's mind had considered in the past, and had given up as impossible. In the pearl, he saw Juana and Coyotito and himself, standing and kneeling at the high altar, and they were being married now that they could pay. He spoke softly. "We will be married."
Amazon resume.
Removing the pearl from Audible.
It could not be seen. In the incandescence of the pearl, the pictures formed of the things Kino's mind had considered in the past, and had given up as impossible. In the pearl, he saw Juana and Coyotito and himself, standing and kneeling at the high altar, and they were being married now that they could pay. He spoke softly. "We will be married in the church." In the pearl, he saw how they would be dressed. Juana in a shawl, stiff and music. And from under the long skirt, Kino could see that she wore shoes. It was in the pearl. A picture glowed. He himself was dressed in new white clothes, and he carried a new hat, not of straw, but of fine black felt. And he too wore shoes, not sandals, but shoes that laced. But Coyotito, he was the one. He wore a blue sailor suit from the United States, and a little yachting cap, such as Kino had seen once on a pleasure boat put into the estuary. All of these things Kino saw in the lucid pearl, and he said, "We will have new clothes." And the music of the pearl rose like a chorus of trumpets in the air. Then, to the lovely gray surface of the pearl came the little things Kino wanted. A harpoon, one lost a year ago. A new harpoon of iron with a ring at the end of the shaft. And his mind could hardly make the leap. A rifle. But why not, since he was so rich? And Kino saw Kino in the pearl. Kino holding a Winchester carbine. It was the wildest daydreaming and very pleasant. His lips moved hesitantly over this. A rifle. A rifle. It was the rifle that broke down the barriers. This was an impossibility, and if he could think of having a rifle, whole horizons would burst. He could rush on. But it is said that humans are never satisfied. And to give them one thing, they want something more. And this is said in disparagement, whereas it is one of the greatest talents the species has, and one that has made it superior to animals that are satisfied with what they have. The neighbors, close pressed and silent in the house, nodded their heads at his wild imaginings, and a man in the rear murmured, "A rifle. You will have a rifle." The music of the pearl was shrilling with triumph in Kino. Juana looked up, and her eyes were wide at Kino's courage and at his imagination. The electric strength had come to him. Now the horizons were kicked out. In the pearl, he saw Coyotito sitting at a little desk in the school, just as Kino had once seen him through an open door. And Coyotito was dressed in a jacket, and he had on a white collar and a broad silken tie. Moreover, Coyotito was writing on a big piece of paper. Kino looked at his neighbors fiercely. "My son will go to school," he said, and the neighbors were hushed. Juana caught her breath sharply. Her eyes were bright as she watched him, and she looked quickly down at Coyotito in her arms to see whether this might be possible. But Kino's face shone with pride. "My son will read and write the book, and my son will write and will know writing, and my son will make money, and these things will make us free, because he will know, and through him we will know." And in the pearl, Kino saw himself and Juana squatting by the little fire in the brush hut, while Coyotito read from a great book. "This is what the pearl will do," said Kino. And he had never said so many words together in his life. And suddenly he was afraid of stopping. His hand closed down over the pearl and cut the light away from it. Kino was afraid, as a man is afraid who says, "I will," without knowing. Now the neighbors knew they had witnessed a great marvel. They knew that time would now date from Kino's pearl, and that they would discuss this moment for many years to come. If these things came to pass, they would recount how Kino looked, and what he said, and how his eyes shone, and they would say, "He was a man transfigured. Some power was given to him, and there it started. You see what a great man he has become, starting from that moment? And I myself saw it." And if Kino's planning came to nothing, these same neighbors would say, "There it started. A foolish madness came over him, so that he spoke foolish words. God keep us from such things. Yes, God punished Kino because he rebelled against the way things are. You see what has become of him. And I myself saw the moment when his reason left him." Kino looked down at his cold hand and the knuckles scattered over it tight where they had struck the gate. Now the dusk was coming, and Juana looped her shawl at the table so that he hung against her hip. And she went to the fire hole and dug a coal from the ashes, and broke a few twigs over it and fanned a flame alive. The little flames danced on the faces of the people. They knew they should go to their own doors, but they were reluctant to leave. The dark was almost in, and Juana's fire threw shadows on the brush walls when the whisper came in, passed from mouth to mouth. "The father is coming. The priest is coming." The men uncovered their heads and stepped back from the door, and the women gathered their shawls about their faces and cast down their eyes. Kino and Juan Tomas, his brother, stood up. The priest came in, a gray, aging man with an old skin and a young, sharp eye. Children, he considered these people, and he treated them like children. "Kino," he said softly, "thou art named after a great man and a great father of the church." He made it sound like a benediction. "Thy namesake tamed the desert and sweetened the minds of thy people. Didst thou know that? It is in the books." Kino looked quickly down at Coyotito's head where he hung on Juana's hip. what things were in the books and what things were not. The music had gone out of Kino's head, but now, thinly, slowly, the melody of the morning, the music of evil, of the enemy sounded. It was faint and deep. Kino looked at his neighbors to see who might have brought this song in. The priest was speaking again. It has come to me that thou hast found a great fortune, a great pearl. Kino opened his hand and held it out. The priest gasped a little at the size and the beauty of the pearl, and then he said, I hope thou wilt remember to give thanks, my son, to him who has given thee this treasure, and to pray for guidance in the future. Kino nodded dumbly. It was Juana who spoke softly. We will, father, and we will be married now. Kino has said so. She looked at the neighbors for confirmation, and they nodded their heads solemnly. The priest said, it is pleasant to see that your first thoughts are good thoughts. God bless you, my children. He turned and laughed quietly, and the people left. But Kino's hand closed tightly on the pearl again, and he was glancing about suspiciously, for the evil song was in his ears, shrilling against the music of the pearl. The neighbors slipped away to go to their houses, and Juana squatted by the fire and set a clay pot of boiled beans over the lit flame. Kino stepped slowly and looked out. As always, he could smell the smoke from many fires, and he could see the hazy stars and feel the damp of the night air, so that he covered his nose from it. The thin dog came to him. It threshed itself in greeting like a wind-blown flag, and Kino looked down at it and didn't see it. It had broken through the horizon into a cold and lonely outside. He felt alone and unprotected, and scraping crickets and shrilling tree frogs and croaking birds seemed to be carrying the melody of evil. Kino shivered a little and drew his blanket more tightly against his nose. He carried the pearl still in his hand, tightly closed in his palm. It was warm and smooth against his skin. Behind him, he heard Juana patting the cakes before she put them down with a clay cutting machine. Kino felt all the warmth and security of his family behind him, and the song of his family came from behind him like the playing of a king. But now, by saying what his future was going to be like, he had created it. A plan is a real thing, and things projected are experienced. A plan once made and visualized becomes a reality along with other realities, never to be destroyed but easily to be attacked. Thus, Kino's future was real, but having set it up, other forces were set up to destroy it, and this and more, so that he had to prepare to meet the attack. And this Kino knew also, that the gods do not love men's plans, and the gods do not love success unless it comes back to them. He knew that the gods take their revenge on a man if he be successful through his own efforts. Consequently, Kino was afraid of plans, but having made one, he could never destroy it. And to meet the attack, Kino was already making a hard skin for himself against the world. His eyes and his mind probed danger before it appeared. Standing at the door, he saw two men approach, and one of them carried a lantern which lighted the ground and the light of men. They turned in from the opening of Kino's brush fence and came to his door, and Kino saw that one was the doctor and the other the servant who had opened the gate in the morning. The split knuckles on Kino's right hand burned when he saw who they were. The doctor said, I was not in when you came this morning, but now at the first chance I have come to see the baby. Kino stood in the door, filling it, and hatred raged and flamed in the back of his eyes, no fear, for the hundreds of years of subjugation were cut deep in him. The baby is nearly well now, he said curtly. The doctor smiled, but his eyes and their little link-lined helmets did not smile. He said, sometimes, my friend, the scorpion sting has a curious effect. There will be apparent improvement, and then, without warning, poof. He pursed his lips and made a little explosion to show how quick it could be, and he shifted his small black doctor around the back. He was lighted the lamp for a moment, but he knew that Kino's race loved the tools of any craft and trusted them. Sometimes, the doctor went on in a liquid tone, sometimes there will be a withered leg or a blind eye or a crippled rage and hatred melting toward fear. He did not know, and perhaps this doctor did. And he could not take the chance of pitting his certain ignorance against this man's possible knowledge. He was trapped, as his people were always trapped, and would be until, as he had said, they could be sure that the things in the books were really in the books. He could not take a chance, not with the life or with the straightness of Pollo. He stood aside and let the doctor and his man enter the brush hut. Juana stood up from the fire and backed away as he entered, and she covered the baby's face with the fringe of her shawl. And when the doctor went to her and held out his hand, she clutched the baby tight and looked at Kino where he stood with the fire shadows leaping on his face. Kino nodded. Only then did she let the doctor take the baby. Hold the light, the doctor said. When the servant held the lantern high, the doctor looked for a moment at the moon on the baby's shoulder. He was thoughtful for a moment, and then he rolled back the baby's eyelid and looked at the eyeball. He nodded his head while Coyotito struggled against him. It is as I thought, he said. The poison has gone inward and will strike soon. Come look. He held the baby's hand. See, it is blue. And Kino, looking anxiously, saw that indeed it was a little blue. He didn't know whether or not it was always a little blue. But the trap was set. He couldn't take a chance. The doctor's eyes watered on the little hand. I will give you something to try to turn the poison aside. And he handed the baby to him. And from his bag he took a little bottle of white powder and a capsule of gelatin. He filled the capsule with powder and put it around the first capsule, filled the second capsule and closed it. Then he looked very desperate. He took the baby and pushed its lower lip until it opened its mouth. His fat fingers placed the capsule far back on the baby's tongue. Back of the point where he could spit it out. And then from the floor he quickly filled a pitcher of pulque and gave Pollo a drink. He looked again at the baby's eyeball and pursed his lips and seemed to think. At last he handed the baby back to Juana and turned to Kino. It means the poison will attack in a new hour, he said. The medicine may save the baby from hurt, but I will come back in an hour, perhaps. I am in time to save him. He took a deep breath and went out of the hut, and his servant followed him with the rest. Now Juana had the baby under her arm and she stared.
Mom,
Yes.
we gotta make the Christmas gnocchi.
Yep, we're gonna do it at 2:15 or sooner, okay? I'm just making a little video of doing the gingerbread houses. What time is it right now?
1:24.
Okay, so if I'm not ready by 2:15, come get me, okay? And we're gonna make them with what we have, okay?
Everyone knew why the doctor had come. He was not good at dissembling, and he was very well understood. Out of the estuary, a tight woven stream of small fish swimming in dark water to escape a school of great fishes that drove in to meet them. And in the houses the people could hear the swish of the small ones and the bounteous splash of the breakers as the slaughter went on. The dampness rose out of the dark was deposited on bushes and cacti, and on little trees and salty drops. And the night mice crept about on the ground, and the little night hawks hunted them inside. A skinny black puppy with flame spots over his eyes came to Kino's door and looked in. He nearly shook his hind quarters loose when Kino glanced up at him, and he subsided when Kino looked away. The puppy did not enter the house, but he watched with frantic interest while Kino ate his beans from the little pottery dish and wiped it clean with a corn cake and ate the cake and washed the whole down with a drink of corn cake. Kino was finished and was rolling a cigarette when the woman spoke sharply. He piled twigs into the fire hole to make a blaze, and then he could see the face of those people. The baby's face was flushed, his throat was working, and a little thick drool of saliva issued from his lips. The spasm of the stomach muscles began, and the baby was very sick. He knelt beside his wife. So the doctor knew, he said. But he said it for himself as well as for his wife. For his mind was hard and suspicious, and he was remembering the white powder. Lana rocked from side to side and moaned out his song with the family, as though it could ward off the danger. And the baby bounded and writhed in her arms. Now uncertainty was in King, and the music of evil dropped in his head and really drove out Lana's song. The doctor finished his chocolate and nibbled the little ball of persons. He brushed his fingers on a napkin, looked at his watch, arose, and took up his little bag. The news of the baby's illness traveled quickly along the houses. For sickness is second only to hunger as the enemy of poor people. And some said softly, luck, you see, brings people down. They nodded and got up to bring Kino. The neighbors scuttled and covered noses. They crowded to Kino's house again. They stood and gazed. They made little comments on the sadness which should happen at a time of joy in the church. All seemed like God. The old women squatted down beside Lana to try to give her aid as they could and comfort as they could not. Then the doctor hurried in, followed by his man. He scattered the old women lecture. He took the baby and examined it at the chair. The poison has worked. I think I can do it. I will try my best. He asked for water, and with a cup of it, he put 3 drops in the morning. He pried open the baby's mouth and poured it down. The baby's throat was squeezed as he choked. Lana watched her with open eyes. The doctor spoke with her as he talked. It is lucky that I know about the poison of a scorpion. Otherwise, they would be sure to show what happened. sound so soft that might have been simply a little almost inaudible cry controlled Kino noticed that, and he knew that whatever dark thing was in his head was holding its breath. And now a wild fear surged through Kino's breast, and his fear came again, as it always did. Kino's hand crept into his breast, where his knife hung on a string, and then he sprang into the door. Striking and spitting into the dark thing he knew was in the corner of the house. He felt claws, struck at it with his knife, and missed, and struck again, let his knife go through hard, and then his head crashed with lightning and exploded with pain.
Thank you for watching. I hope you had fun, and I hope that you'll make some cool gingerbread houses or get some inspiration from the idea and make something amazing.